Hey everybody, welcome back to our neck of the woods. So it's Saturday morning. So far the weather looks okay. Still waiting on my dad and Rob to show up, and then we'll get going on trying to get these LVLs in. Not exactly sure how we're gonna do it yet. Again, Rob's got a ladder, my dad's got a ladder, we've got mine here. I think what I might end up doing is taking a 2x4 and kind of screwing it into the ICF wall. That way when we get it up there, we can kind of set it on the 2x4 that's screwed in. Again, they're only about 114 pounds each, so a couple screws and a couple 2x4s should be able to hold that weight up no problem. And then we can lift it up like that last inch or so, find our marks, and then I can go ahead and bolt them in. But we'll see what their thoughts are too when they get here. But I'm going to go ahead down there now, remove those forms down around the concrete stairs that I poured yesterday, and then we'll go ahead and get started on the day. All right, so we got the first one set here. Didn't hit record on the camera, but my confidence in Simpson is quickly diminishing because several of these bolts, even though I P-drilled through the LVL, as soon as they touched the backside metal plate, all the tips snapped off. So I am gonna have to pick some different spots and try and get 2 more in here. I lost at least 4 or 5 along the way going down here. Not exactly sure what the problem is, but we'll have to hopefully just rely on that working. The other thing I don't really like is the fact that the LVL is so far away from the wall. Some of these Simpson plates, I don't know if you can see down in there, they basically just didn't get embedded into the concrete all the way, even though I was hammering them in after we poured. But hopefully once the floor joists on and are kind of pushing in this direction, it'll push in here where you can see there's a little bit of movement, and the floor joist should stiffen all this up. And then once the subfloor is down, it'll be bolting down here too and should lock it up. But we'll see if we can get the rest of these up. And again, fingers crossed, this ends up working for us in the long run.
My ladder up, we'll get it up here and set it, bring it up here and set it on this end. Yeah. One guy can stand here, and then the other 2 can work up there. I think I don't know. So you got to put the ace on this side, all around. Let's go down the middle. Ready? Watch your finger when you roll it up. Yep.
Do we fit? I'm up. Am I? How much room is there?
Tight bottom. Oh, now, God, gotta get on. My ladder's not,
There's a little black line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
a few feet.
Yeah.
Just put the bottom one in. Cause I gotta jack this up before you can run your other one. You gotta look at it right at the end.
Oh, yeah. Down. Okay. All right.
Rob.
Yeah. everybody, welcome back. So it's getting kind of the end of day, Sunday. It's kind of going slower than I thought it would. My dad left a little bit ago. Aaron helped me with a few, but we've got some, trying not to fall here. We've got some floor joists up. We're probably I think we're 3 away from the halfway point of this side. So what's taking so long is we're probably going to start ordering the subfloor and getting the subfloor up here, so that way we can walk across easier, and obviously bring the floor joists up here or bring them in through the garage a little bit easier. But what's taking a little bit of time is Simpson, who makes these brackets, basically says all you need to do is two nails here and 1 nail here. But they have extra holes in these brackets where they're triangles. Basically, they say that is an extra hole. So if we look at these brackets here, you've got 2 up top, you've got 1 right here, and then you've got triangle. Triangle's an extra. You don't have to do it, but these circles are required. And then you also have triangle, triangle, and we'll just go ahead and call that a diamond. So Simpson says all you need is these 6 right here. And when you push the floor joist down in here, these teeth here, 1, lock it in so it can't raise back up, and 2, it helps lock it in so the floor joist can't move this way. Well, recommended by the joist manufacturer and required by my engineer, he wants what is called webbing put in, and that is what these are. So basically, I probably could have gotten away with maybe 3/4 of an inch OSB, but technically in that gap there, as you see right there, technically it's about 1 inch to 1 1/8 inches. So I would have had to have ordered that. It would have taken forever to get here. So 3/4 of an inch, I would have just ended up pinching the bracket a little bit. And I figured if we use the same floor adhesive that we're going to use to glue all of our decking down with, I'm just using that to glue basically 2 sheets together, and then also gluing it to the webbing of the I-joist. So it's taken a lot of time. We had to spend a lot of time today cutting 1 million of those. When you try to nail those together, the nails are going through and pushing out the backside. So I have to clamp the top and the bottom after I glue them in and get them pinched in. Then I can go ahead and use the nail gun, hit them in, and now we've got basically a much more secured and strong web, basically. And again, that's what you're seeing right there. So we then have to go back and put in all the nails, and I am doing the nails by hand in the bracket. They do make a bracket nail gun, which has a little tip that kind of orients into a hole, and then the nail will shoot right into the hole. I think that gun's probably $300 or $400, and I'm only going to use it for these a few times. So these ones I'm putting in by hand. The webbing I'm putting in with a nail gun, and that's pretty much it, really. We have to do this on this end and on the end for the main beam that's running across. And then the last thing that we're doing is, if you can see, these have a heck of a lot of movement in them. So again, recommended by the joist manufacturer, but required by my engineer. He wants blocking in the middle too. So there will be kind of 1 inch staggered blocks going back and forth all the way down the center of this. Now, these are roughly 17.3, 17.4 in span. So you probably don't need the blocking in the middle, but again, the engineer is requiring it, so we're gonna go ahead and do that and put the blocking in. And that way, if you try to see that I can push these apart, when we put the floor decking down, you really want all of these to be 16 inches on center. So that blocking will help, because when you put that board in there, it'll pinch them together. If one's bowing too far this way, it'll pull it in. So that way you end up with 16 inches on center perfectly every single time. That's going to take a few days to get all that blocking in there. That webbing has not even been started. I'm only on like joist number 6 here, still trying to go through here before it gets too late at night. And we still have the other wall to do there, and we still need the third beam running across, so that's why we've done none this way yet. Unfortunately, the beam pocket on both sides are just a little small, so I've got to get a hammer and chisel, or get an electric chisel and kind of go in there and just get that beam pocket a little bit wider. I could probably just sledgehammer the last beam down in, but I really don't want to do that, so I'll just chisel out a little bit of the concrete and expand that beam pocket a little bit. But that's where we stand right now. We still have to figure out the stair opening. That's the last beam before we come in to the LVL that'll run across here. And again, that'll be the stair opening going down. That one there is just sitting there and it's nailed in. That was the first one that we set just because we didn't want the main beam rocking this way. So it's just kind of keeping it attached to the LVL, attached to the main beam, so that way the main beam doesn't move. A few other things we need to do is none of these poles are 100% in stone yet. We can still move them a little bit this way, and on the bottom, I have not bolted them down yet. They're obviously not going to kick out or anything with these supporting the weight and holding them together, as the brackets are already in. But we got a long week ahead of us to keep on going, so we're going to keep knocking out this webbing tonight. I may bring up a light here because I probably won't work tomorrow, and we will see you guys back probably tomorrow morning, and we'll keep on getting at this. A little update here. I've got all the webbing done for the joists that are hung. I really am not going to be able to do these by myself. I thought about a way maybe to set up some sort of scaffolding in here that'll hold it, but if I pull that joist too far one way and it slips out of that and falls down, I'm just going to bang up the ends and it's just going to be a nightmare. So until I get some help, when Aaron gets home, and maybe we can just hang a few every night until we get to the weekend again, where my dad or somebody can come over and help, or maybe I can find somebody during the week to help me set these. But again, all the webbing is done, and I just started on the blocking. So usually when you do blocking, you use the parent material. So even if you're using like 2x12s, you take a 2x12, turn it sideways, put it up there, and you block it. The problem with me using the parent material is we are running our radiant floor heating up underneath of the sheathing. So imagine all throughout here, there's radiant tubes going down, circling back, and coming back. So that's a problem with blocking being the exact same size as the material that the joists are made out of. So because I have 1,000,001 2x10s left over, I'm taking those 2x10s, using those as blocking, pulling them down so that I can put a nail up through the joist into the bottom, and then I toe nailed that one in there, and then all the other ones will be nailed in directly in from this side. But because it's a 2x10 and not 14 inches, I can get those radiant tubings up and over each piece of blocking without having to worry about notching or cutting or anything like that. So that's why we're going with 2x10s. Obviously it's a solid 2x10. It's very thick, it's wide, it's gonna give plenty of structural support so these don't move side to side. But again, it allows me easy access to put tubes up and over so that I can get down and back. The only thing that I do have to think about is I will have to figure out how many holes I can drill through the main beam. Obviously, I need a tube to run down and back. Maybe I don't have to do down and back within each space. Maybe I can just do a hot run down, come back around, going through that webbing, and then coming back this way and kind of doing it like that, because that then only puts one tiny little 1/2-inch hole through each of the main beams instead of doing two. But I can call the engineer and ask about that. But that's, we're going to finish out the rest of the day, knocking out all the bracing for these joists that I already have. And then, like I said, I may just go to the store and pick up the subfloor and knock out all of this as a subfloor, because the paneling that you see up in here, that's not actually our subfloor. That's just a 1/2-inch OSB that I picked up that we're cutting down for all of the webbing. I just used a few of those to set up there so we had something to sit on. But I will need these cut up for more webbing when we get around in here. So if I go and get the subfloor right now, we can pretty much knock out all of this, and then we have something pretty sturdy to stand on and have a working platform to do more work from. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock out the rest of these blocking, and then probably go to the store, and then we will go from there. So I didn't make it to the store to get the subfloor because I decided to finish on knocking out all of the brackets on this side. What I wanted to show you guys is, if you remember when I hung the plates into the ICF walls, remember I said these two plates in the dead center of the house are very close together? So this is going to be a very strong point of the house, which is right in the middle. It may be even as strong as the main beam, because you've got 4 Simpson plates bolting these LVLs into the concrete. And then I am going to run the OSB or the subflooring from over here to center and over here to center, which is why you have 2 floor joists that basically end right on top of each other. So again, very strong point right here, because instead of 16 inches on center, they're basically like, I don't know, 8 inches on center. So that's a very strong point right there. The other thing I want to show you is these 4 brackets right here, 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 and here. And again, you can see that bracket is extremely close to another one. What these are is the LVL stair openings. So we've got an outside and an outside, and then the 2 middle ones are going to run for only 4 feet, and then you're gonna have an LVL go across. So basically you'll have a 4-foot landing. These outside LVLs, however, are 4.5 feet. So we've got a 4.5 foot stair opening coming all the way down here. So again, anything that you want to put down here in the basement one day, washer, dryer, etc., you've got all the room in the world to bring something down, and you're not going to bust your knuckles on a hand railing or anything like that. The way I designed this house, which I know you guys haven't seen any pictures of it, over here is the master bedroom and the bedrooms down here in the basement. So as the roof trusses are going to come over to here, the last roof truss is going to be kind of like this too. You're going to have a roof truss, and then just a few inches over, another roof truss. And that roof truss all the way up there is going to be an end truss. And an end truss is basically a whole bunch of 2x4s put together straight up and down vertically, so you can hang drywall to it or sheathing on the outside, etc. So from the basement floor where I'm standing right here, there's going to be a wall right here where this stairway comes down. This is all going to be drywall blocking off this bedroom. As you get up to the first floor, you're going to have another piece of drywall, and that is blocking the master bedroom. Sorry, GoPro battery died, so we're on portable battery pack now. Anyway, as I was saying, as you're standing down here in the basement where this LVL is coming across, and the inside of the stairwell is going to be, there's going to be drywall blocking off this bedroom, and that sheet of drywall is going to go all the way up and be the same wall that's right here that's splitting the master and the master closet, the master bath, and actually the master bedrooms over here. So this wall right here is going to go from floor all the way up to floor all the way up to where the ICF ends, and then Aaron wants scissor trusses on the inside. So that's going to be a 412 pitch. So in the basement, as you look up through the stairwell, you will be able to see up almost 32 feet to the peak of the roof. This is all going to be just massively open. That is why if you see any of these trusses coming together too much, that's because, again, we're keeping with the I-joist trusses on layout for 16 inches on center. But then again, right here is going to be a stairwell. Over here is going to be where the other stairwell comes down. And then again, we're starting back on 16 inches on center until we get to the center where they're extremely close together. So we're going to knock out the rest of this side. I'm gonna set up and transfer all of these lines. If you can see up there, I've got marks for each one of these stair openings. I want these to all be 100% transferring over to here. So we're gonna transfer over our marks and then knock out this whole wall. And then hopefully in a little bit, Aaron will be home, and maybe we'll go ahead and knock out a few more joists here. Hey everybody, so it's another day. It's Tuesday, September 15th. This video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to wrap it up here, but I want to update you guys on a few things that's going on. So the rest of this video, or the rest of this week, just know all we're doing is continuing floor joists, we're continuing blocking, we're continuing webbing, and last night I actually got a few of the joists hung by myself. Kind of devised a plan to be able to get it done. So far, so good. It just takes a heck of a lot of time. Basically, we're just using the extension ladder to kind of rest it on here while I get it started in that joist, and then I'm kind of going back and forth on ladders and hammering it down in until it locks in to those Simpson teeth on the bottom. If you're wondering about the strap and tractor, the LVLs aren't exactly straight. They were, but with rain and them sitting on the sawhorses over there, they got a little bit of a bow in them. So I had to pull that side a little bit that way, and I don't know if you will be able to tell, but there is a little bit of a bow where that last joist is and where the outside LVL is. It's bowing inward, so that joist is going to have to be cut, you know, the same length as all the other one, and hopefully I'll be able to push that LVL back that way, and we'll get this a little bit more straight. Honestly, it really doesn't matter. I'm cutting all of these joists individually anyway, instead of like chainsawing them down all at the exact same time. That way, if there is any variation in the LVL like this, it's just simply takes more time to cut them individually, but they're a lot more exact and precise that way. Once the subfloor is on, it doesn't matter if a LVL bow is, you know, 5 feet out like this. What's it matter? Once the subfloor is on and it's all bolted down, it's all locked together. And there's drywall going up in the basement ceiling, so it doesn't matter. You're never going to see it anyway. So that brings us to the first topic that I want to update you guys on, which is the subfloor. I know most every YouTuber seems to be using Huber's Advantech. There's one Home Depot that's about 20 minutes away that actually has it in stock. Unfortunately, the stuff is about $50 a sheet. Now, I've seen Jordan from the Build Show on YouTube go and check it out. The plant is awesome. They have their own like thousands of acres of forest that they cut down, replant, cut down and replant. So it's a renewable resource for them. I really like the company and their product and everything, but at $50 a sheet, not sponsored by them or anything, I just can't swing the price. So we're just gonna have to go with somebody else's product. Now, what are we gonna use? Honestly, still haven't decided. I'll probably make that decision today. I am gonna use a tongue and groove 3/4 inch, but am I gonna use OSB or am I gonna use plywood? I've always been a plywood person. Obviously, technology has come a long way that OSB has gotten better. Most of the product on there that you see online say they guarantee a 200, a 300, or a 500 day no sanding guarantee, which means it can sit out in the weather, get rained on until you hit that day mark. The ends shouldn't split or swell and need sanded down, etc. But again, I've always kind of been a plywood guy. I just like the fact that it's one solid sheet of wood minus, you know, another sheet under that, under that, under that. I still have seen people say that it delaminates at ends, but I don't know. I still need to decide what I want to pay, because the price can go anywhere from 20 something all the way up to 50 something. I'm definitely not going with what some people get, which is like an 1 1/8 inches. 3/4 of an inch is going to be fine, because let's keep in mind here, we've got a 2.5 inch nailing surface, so the space in here is nothing. I mean, heck, I could even stand on this 1/2 inch and there's a little bit of give here. This 1/2 inch would even be fine, but we're gonna go with, you know, the standard 3/4 of an inch. I'm gonna decide whether it's gonna be OSB or plywood. If I get this video uploaded, actually, maybe I can get some comments from you guys. But the other thing I wanted to update you on is we are going with Huber's Zip R. I have ordered that. It's all for the garage here. And we're using the R 6.0, which has an overall value of about 6.6. And that extra 0.6 is coming in because, again, it's 1/2 inch or 5/8 OSB. And, or no, I think it is 1/2 inch. But that 1/2 inch of OSB is giving you a little bit more R value. So soon we'll be able to get all of that up and get the garage sheathed in. I've also ordered the roof trusses for the entire house. Those were about $16,000. So we've got 4 different types of trusses that we're going to be using. We've got end trusses and common trusses. Now, I already said yesterday about the end trusses that are just 2x4s run vertically, so you can nail sheathing and stuff too. Common trusses are just simply trusses with 2x4s that run in a WV pattern to hold everything up. The garage is going to have attic trusses also, and that's so we can put storage in there. Thankfully, those attic trusses have a bottom plate thickness. They're using a 2x10, which is awesome, because if I'm putting sheathing on top of those, I have 9.5 inches of insulation that I can pack in there to keep the garage more warm. Around the attic trusses, I can put in blown in insulation, you know, 2 feet high if I want, and get like an R60 or an R100. I can do whatever I want. But at least where the attic trusses are going to be, which are going to be more centralized in the middle of the garage, those again will at least be a You know, I don't really know, actually. I got to sit down and figure that out. I don't know what I'm going to be using up in there. Again, I've got 9.5 inches that I can work with, whether it be spray foam, blown in, rock wool, fiberglass, whatever. That's still plenty that garage ceiling will be insulated. The other update is we are no longer going to be using Fox blocks. So the reason why that is, it's nothing to do with Fox blocks. Menards stopped carrying them out of the blue, so I can't get an 11% off anymore. Fox is going with another company, but I just decided to no longer do it. Not to mention, I've been waiting like 4 months and I still haven't even gotten a Menards rebate. So I'm not really happy with Menards, and when you talk to them about it, well, we don't do the rebates. That's a company that we pay for. We have no control over it. You call the company, and actually you can't even call a company. You email, and 3 weeks later you might get a response, and they're just not helpful at all. I think it's an absolute terrible process in 2020 that you have to physically mail something in that can get lost in the mail. You'll never get a rebate, and I've got rebates up to some almost $2,000 for a single rebate. Not to mention the rebates that I get, you know, when I'm like in there and I forgot something and I pick something up for like $5, and I'm waiting on, you know, 50 cents to come back. So I think it's a terrible process. They owe me probably $3,000 or $4,000 at this point, and frankly, I don't think I'm ever going to get it. So Menards, not cool. Update your crap in 2020. Anyway, Brian, my ICF brace guy, is actually a distributor of New Dura. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that's going to be clapping and applauding because New Dura seems to be at the top of the list for absolutely everybody. Again, it's no fault to Fox. Menards kicked them out. I tried calling a few Fox representatives in the area, and several of them are just horrible to deal with. Several didn't answer their phone. A few had no idea what I was even talking about. So your employees are working for your company, you have no clue what you carry or do, and they weren't even really helpful. So it's not Fox's fault. Fox, your distributors are terrible. Two knew what I was talking about, had not a clue on pricing, took over a week to respond, and they said they were going to call the representative in the area for pricing. Well, I already know the representative in the area. I've talked to him 100 times. I know what the pricing is. Just get it ordered. And the fact that they weren't coming through again, your distributors are terrible. I just said enough. And again, called up Brian because he's a dealer for Nudura, and that's what we're going to go with. Now, if you're wondering, well, how the heck are you going to do 2 ICF products together? Well, again, if you remember, the taper blocks, don't worry about all the concrete here, stuck in the holes anyway, but these taper blocks, see, there is no contact point for the outside taper block to lock in the Fox blocks. There is on the inside, but there's not on the outside. And we want the outside to be completely flush. So because we're going with a 4-inch wall now, the 2 inches is going to be on the inside and not on the outside. There's not going to be a lip here. The lip's going to be on the inside. So even with Fox blocks, there was no locking point to lock in here. So it makes no sense, or it makes perfect sense that it doesn't matter who we go with. That outside first layer is going to have to be bolted down, basically. We're either going to have to cut strips of OSB and attach the Fox to the Nudura, or 2x4s running vertically. No matter what, it's going to have to be locked down with screws and wood all the way on the outside. So it didn't matter who we go with. Why is Nudura the best? 2 key points that I found out about them that are awesome. Number 1, they come in 8-foot panels. So installation is a lot faster because you're going 8 feet at a time and not 4 feet. Number 2, shipping is a lot easier. They don't come fully assembled in their full size. They come, 2 panels are basically pushed together. The plastic webbing kind of opens up to become wider, and then they kind of lock in and stay straight, so you can ship a lot more easier because they come flat. So that's cool. The other awesome thing about them is, remember the Fox HV clips? You have to lock them in both vertically and horizontally. Nudura, you only have to lock them in horizontally, because on your vertical, they've got internal plastic teeth that when you hammer them down, the plastic teeth lock over another plastic tooth on the bottom row, and that locks your vertical in so you don't get lift when you pour. That's going to make installation or install a heck of a lot easier, because you're deleting a step. You're not banging up your knuckles with those HV clips, because those are very tightly spring loaded to lock in there. So that's a bonus. So I think I'm going to be very happy. The R value is identical, so they're also in Ohio. That's another positive thing. Brian can go and pick those up and get them to me the day that I want them, as opposed to Fox blocks from Menards. Sometimes I was having to wait up to 6 weeks to get a bundle ordered, because they have to be shipped in from somewhere. I noticed somewhere in Holiday City, Ohio, they would sit for 2 or 3 weeks at a time and just not get put on a truck to be shipped to Menards so that I could go and pick them up. So that's a big pain in the butt, and that's, again, probably not Fox's fault. That's Menards' fault to, you know, go get a trucker down there, because when you're ordering 30, 40, 50 pallets of ICFs, you know, that's going to take a semi or two, and that's all designated just for me. So they're probably going to look at it as priority wise, who's going to go get that. So again, Brian can go and get Nudura the day of here in Ohio, and when I call him up and say, hey, Subfloor's down, I want him here tomorrow, not a problem. He'll go get them, bring them, done. We're installing, and we'll knock out this first floor in no time. So that is where we stand right now. I've probably spent almost $25,000 this week, you know, getting all the, pretty much the last bit of materials ordered. The only thing that we have to figure out from here then is what sheathing we're gonna do on the roof, what roofing we're gonna use. It is gonna be a metal roof, but stay tuned. We'll figure out what color we're gonna do, what company we're gonna go with, what style, like open screws or stand and seam that hides the screws. We still got to place the window and door order. Obviously we have the quote, which the window and door order officially is going to be about $29,900. So that's going to be another big thing that we're going to spend, but just stay tuned. We're gonna get it all shown to you guys, get it all up and installed. But just know, for now, for the next week and a half, it's gonna be knocking out joists, knocking out the subfloor. I'll probably take you guys along in the next video when I figure out what subfloor we're gonna order. But please let me know in the comments what you guys think I should go with. Should it be 3/4 inch OSB? Should it be 3/4 inch plywood? Maybe from an act of God, Hubert will sponsor this video out of nowhere. I doubt it, but I don't know. But we're going to wrap it up here again, and let me know what you guys think I should use for a subfloor. Stay tuned, like and subscribe, and we will see you all later.